各位来宾、各位朋友，大家午安。谢谢今天下午来参加下午的研讨会。虽然已经3月中了，不过还是跟各位拜个晚年，祝各位今年平安、快乐、健康，城市设计顺利，发大财。那我想 Delphi XC7应该全世界公认都是一个非常稳定、非常好的一个版本。那陆陆续续有很多成果已经开始在发表了。那很高兴的，今天刚刚碰到一个好朋友，我们这个杜先生，他告诉我说 ，Andrew， 好不容易他的 APP 也这个月会上市了。那刚刚一位廖先生也跟我讲，说在台湾有一个 APP 竟然在Google 的 App Store 在台湾下载超过上万的下载，所以是蛮不错的一个里程碑。这个叫什么路路通，好像是 PC Home 相关单位的一个 APP， 应该也是用Delphi写的，所以这个已经陆陆续续看到一些成果。那除了我们台湾本身以外，今天也很难得有这个机会，我们 Chris 邀请到 Embarcadero 在韩国的几位专家来跟各位来分享Delphi 在韩国的状况是怎么样。那在韩国几个重要的他们的 case study 来跟各位来一起分享交流。那在今天我们李老师的研讨会还没开始之前，我们首先请到我们远从韩国来的2位先生来跟我们介绍一下Delphi 在韩国的这个情况，以及他们在几个单位，尤其是Samsung的很多的大单位用Delphi所写的一些 case 的 study 来跟各位来一起交流。那接着我请 Chris 来跟各位介绍他们。谢谢各位，谢谢。
谢谢方总。大家好，下午好很开心的又回到台北今天在开始以前，让我先跟大家介绍一下这些武林高手，给大家看。在第一面，方总已经讲是韩国，但是给大家看一下我们请来的韩国的朋友第一个，昨天晚上我有跟我的韩国朋友谈一下，他是在韩国做老大，对 Embarcadero 韩国。我将把他公司的 training room 给我看一下，给大家知道他们在那边怎么做。他就跟我讲，他们1个月大概做4场的培训，然后每一个培训大约都是3天左右。所以我看了一下，哇！难怪韩国的业绩越做越好这是韩国的。我也把他的在韩国的 team 给大家看一下，他们都很开心在开始先介绍一下，给大家知道一下好，这位我抓这个是因为这位先生，我常常在美国见到他嘛，他是做地基产品。可是我每次问他，那上位那位演员怎么没有上去？那个跟着去美国嘛，来做龙。开心的一族，我也把他们在韩国在做活动的那些东西放出来给大家看一下，知道一下。你看看他们也是有手册再注意看一下，这个韩文手册就是这位韩国高手也是写的所以今天请他来很开心的跟大家讲解。这个是他们陆陆续续所做的比较大型的一些活动然后我看到一张很有趣的，他们在韩国做也是下午做活动，也是2点到5点，跟台湾差不多一样，大致是一样的。这个是他们做办活动的 registration。昨天我就问他这句话，我说：“怎么你们在韩国做，怎么也是清一色多半都是男生？因为我在很多地方做，我发觉到男生还是比较多，所以我们想今年要尽量找多一点女生进来吧。”你看看也是都是男生排队，可是他们不同的是，他们的讲师有女生，我每次都是李老师，所以这是我下一个目标，希望会找到一个女生的讲师出来他们有不同的讲师，都做得不错爆满这张李老师可能不知道，他偷跑去韩国讲，连韩国都尊重他。 前面是让大家知道一些韩国他们做活动，他们的人是怎样的。现在让我介绍一下我的朋友袁勇吴先生，他是 Embarcadero 的 president 在 Korea， 他是那个老大。当然，他的大学他跟我讲的不懂是什么东西，我放下来。他在进来 Embarcadero 以前，他有在 eBay 做过。他喜欢划船。他以前是韩国的空军的我们叫 officer， 空军的 officer， 他是非常很多人都很喜欢他，公司人都跟他交谈。所以如果将来有机会，你们有他电邮还有他的朋友的电邮都放下来，如果你们需要交流，可以直接跟他讲。韩国在我们这一区常常都是做最好的，所以使到我希望可以请到他们下来跟我们分享啊。当然，这两个东西只是放一下，这是他孩子，他的车，好羡慕啊！好，吴先生，虽然我跟他沟通比较少一点点，不过当我跟朴先生讲的时候，他跟我讲，他是在韩国1等1的活动室高手。如果他讲他是第2名，韩国没有人讲是第1名，所以哇，下面是他面子书。我这些都会放上会请健康放在网上，他的面子书。当然，我简单的介绍，他是我们的 MVP， 他做了18年的标反他就是写那本书的幕后的人写出的那本书他在每一个月也做大概2天的培训给大家，在他的2012年他是 user group 里面的 leader，这个是他的网址，这个是他的。我们叫做 blogspot， 这个是他电邮。所以如果在今天他讲完以后，你们有什么东西想跟他交流，也可以直接寄给他，就是希望可以把不同国家的好的东西都串在一起。我找了几张照片，他给我看那些他所做的那些不同的 APP， 当然我听不大懂，因为我的本身技术没这样好，然后他的英文跟我们两个也是讲得很辛苦，昨天晚上讲很久。不过他是1等1的高手，他今天会把他有做的一些好的 APP 跟大家分享一下。等一下他会用英文讲，因为他自己也做了一个很好的一个草稿，那边把它改成英文嘛，对不对？如果这些东西听不懂，你想知道的话，我会请李老师，还是我们能够继续翻译成中文给大家知道。他花了很多心思，希望这半个小时到1个小时的时间，可以让大家领悟到韩国的做法。我不再讲多了，就把这宝贵的时间交给吴先生吧。好，谢谢。不好意思，我忘了讲重要的人，朴老板要写给他5分钟，不好意思。
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Bom-young Park from Korea. Nice to meet you here. Yes. And it's my first time to visit Taiwan, and as my English and visitors' English is very, very, very bad. So please have your patience for us. And I will have only 5 minutes. And then I will hand it over to Mr. O. Before I start my 5-minute session, especially thanks to Andrew Fang and Chris for having me here and have a chance to meet the Taiwan developers here. And also I hope to make a chance visit some of you to Korea to share your success stories with Korean developers if you are okay. Yes. If there's any volunteers, I will be always welcome. And I will talk about, I think, my humble opinion is the Delphi ecosystem, and I will talk about the applications and the success stories. Applications from the Mr. O. Let me share just one university hospital. It's VCL story, and the hospital has more than 10 beds, not the biggest hospital, but they recently adopted the Delphi 1 year ago, and before they start their new project, their challenge was absolutely the performance and features for quick access the diverse patient information on one screen for medical staff. And the second goal was the same sized developers and double up services for their medical staff. They put on electronic medical EMR or EHR record system, and the OCS system and the HIS, hospital information systems, all built with Delphi. And then so they have 6-month project. Actually the Samsung SDS, the biggest SIR, did that work, and the result, they were very happy with the high quality screen for medical staff with very rapid speed, and they maintain all their systems by themselves. And except only one step, all other people are new to Delphi. They just learned Delphi for 3 days and then attended the project with Samsung SDS, and after that they are doing their maintenance by themselves. They are happy with the Delphi is very well organized and very object-oriented languages and tools. Before they make the project, they had some surveys from other big major hospitals in Korea to choose the right technologies. Maybe most of you can agree with their opinion. They got the real world stories. First one, they surveyed the web-based technologies. Some big major hospitals adopt the Java web technologies and others, and they surveyed or ASP.NET. They surveyed all the major hospitals, and they found out that the realistic is not the same as their ideas actually. That means they restrict only one web browser and only one version of that browser. For example, only Internet Explorer 9.1 is okay. No 9.0, no 9.2, only. That means why they are using the web-based technology for their medical staff. No need to use the web-based technology. Only just show on the web browser? Maybe not. So that's a real story. So they decided not the web technology. And another, they surveyed the .NET Windows Phone. And .NET Windows Phone has some performance issues. Their major issues always performance. And they come from one of the biggest hospitals in Korea. And one more that is the .NET, they have to deploy the .NET virtual machine too. That is also a big issue. So they decided not to go to web technologies or not to go to .NET technology. There's no need to move to that kind of technologies for themselves. Delphi is not for all the world, all not for the everything, but for the medical center and big hospitals, or as small hospitals too. No reason to use some other challenges they have. Very similar in Taiwan, right? No?
Yeah, with the IE especially, problems with browser compatibility is huge.
Yes,
and
exactly right.
UTF and things like that. That's nice.
Yes, exactly. In the big hospitals has more than 5,000 phones. They have to test the 5,000 phones for every web browsers and versions. It's not possible actually, it's not possible. That's why they restrict the Internet Explorer. And now I introduced Mr. O. And in Korea, there's lots of the mobile programming also from using the FireMonkey. For example, a global research company changes their research jobs from paper to pad. But that kind of the B2B or some wholesaler develop an app for their resellers. So mainly in Korea, the kind of B2B mobile apps are quite growing. But Mr. O will introduce you the consumer apps for your convenience, and you can download all the apps from him. And he will talk about very simple techniques on top of the FireMonkey, as you already know about the FireMonkey. He can show some simple techniques, but you can imagine and get some insights from what you can do. And then I'm feeling that we don't have to waste our time or opportunity for the future components from Delphi. You can think about his project and he can build his own things using Delphi. That's one of the strengths of Delphi. So, and then finally, I show a very small video, and I mentioned the university hospital, but not only the university hospital. All the Samsung-related big hospitals are using the Delphi, and including the biggest Samsung Medical Center Seoul too. And let me show 10-second video. What about the Samsung Medical Center's electronic medical record system? So quickly, right? It is public video, so you can see the video in JetNet. And then what I want to say is that because it is Delphi, you can do everything. If you are web developers or some others, you cannot imagine the kind of application, and that's why the Samsung Medical Center are using Delphi. And their future plan is also on Delphi, and they are doing some next level project now, and with 100 Delphi developers at this moment. Thank you, and I will hand over to Mr. O. Thank you.
Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Oh Sang-hyun.
before Delphi FireMonkey, I had to use other tools to develop mobile app. But now, the only ID is Delphi. To me, Delphi means much faster and easier development. I developed these mobile apps and put them on both Google Play and Apple's App Store from single code base. I open the browser, it's Google Play and it's iTunes, Apple App Store. Most of them are free, so I hope you can download and experience them. In this section, I picked 2 of them. Agenda. First, I will introduce how to handle multi-device, FireUI and one more. Of course, FireUI is the easiest one, but I have one more. And then, I hope to share my 3D object experience. 3D is never far from us. Good news is, it is very easy with FireMonkey. And lastly, I also show that DataSnap is also not far from us again. I will show my DataSnap as a tethering tool. Multi-device auto-deciding. Multi-device issue. I show multi-device. FireMonkey. FireMonkey supports multi-platform. It's amazing, but it is also very flexible to multi-device too. Eclipse or Xcode developers are having a hard time because of a lot of different form factor of device. I will read this issue. Multi-device bigger challenge than multi-platform. Multi-platform, the world of Big 4, Windows, macOS, Android, iOS. Multi-device cannot test out all the different form factors. iOS has 8 different resolutions. What's about Android? Many. How to solve the multi-device issue? Okay, if so, how we Delphi developer can solve this issue? Years ago, design separately for the handheld device. Today, it is not realistic. Just understand mobile form factor, then Delphi address the challenge easily. Because Delphi is working on desktop, which is enough to cover all the sides. Margin, padding, align, and so on is working in various form factors. Of course, FireUI the easiest way to cover multi-device form factor, and one more, Delphi developers auto-sign logic. FireUI. Yes, FireUI from FD7 is much stronger and mobile flexible, multi-device designer, multi-view smart menu component behavior service. Let me skip them, as you might have learned already this powerful feature. But again, definitely powerful. Don't miss them. Case 1, no scroll design. When can ignore the aspect ratio.
Let me now share some of our approaches for flexible UI using Delphi FireMonkey. Here's one is stretch out. In other words, no scroll. When you can get ignored the aspect ratio of device, this approach is flexible. UI elements are auto-sized according to device screen size and ratio. First, there are a variety of device size. And the internal element size are not same because they are changed by their device size. Let's calculate PW1 or the width of blue button. When we can get the width of the device screen, we can calculate them. Even though there is a fixed side element, like red button, we can calculate BW2. SP is space. Space 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. BW1 1, 2, 3. Width of device. BW1, BW2. Let me show you a sample now. So Delphi XP7 it's a very simple project. When device size changed, the rectangle are also changed. Okay. Same on Android device. Connecting. Yes. Device size change. You can see they are different from portrait or landscape orientation. You may quite accustomed to it because you can do it with a align property. First, I hope to focus on the simple math to get the height and width of the rectangle. In form or besides event, you can access form client width
and get the device width. And you can know all the element width. Very simple, nothing to you. Let me share my app using it. Case 1, low scroll design. Scientific calculator app. It's quite unique calculator because it can save and reuse a user-owned formula. Scientific view keywords, search keywords can use to the download page in App Store, Google Play, and iOS App Store. You can try it. It's free. Let me have a 3 minutes to run video of the app. Thanks. The touch panel shows a lot of buttons, but there are not 3 buttons over there, nor independent 3 images. The full touch panel is only 1 image file. Actually 2. Portrait mode and the other landscape. 2 image files. You can imagine that how easy for me to put the 1 image only. But how can make the button work? Easier than we learned just before. We can know the position of a user touch, and we can calculate what button has the position. Also, I can put a dynamic rectangle with opacity and border and animation on that button, as I know the width, height, and position. Also, without hardware sensor, get the orientation rightly. If form client width is bigger than form client height, landscape as portrait screen. Case 2. Scroll design. Case 2 is keep the original ratio. In other words, scroll. To keep an original image nicely, we may fit the image width to the device form width, and then apply the original ratio on it. It is calculated with the formula. We can apply it to all other Delphi objects, image, button, rectangle, layout, and so on. Let me show you a sample. Please imagine this window is a real device. When the image ratio is not equal to the original ratio, like tab item 2, the image turns ugly. For tab item 1, the image is same as the original. Let me open the Delphi project. I used the vertical scroll box and one calculation on form decide event. Simple again, but you can apply it to all size device. Let me show my app with it now. You can find a lot of skill results in Korea with this app. I am ski mania. I developed it for myself. Show real-time regional weather information on each skill region. You can find there are three big circles, 2 gauge on the top and 1 mini on the bottom. I want to keep the circularity, of course. In the middle of them, there is a 3-hour weather forecasting table. I put it on the T-scroll box. Also, let me introduce some more user experience learning. File monkey animation. Sliding etc. With other tools or without file monkey, it's not easy to build this UI. But file monkey helps us to do it fastly and easily. Object, zooming and multi-touch. File on the 3D object. File on the 3D, one big benefit is that we can make touchable 3D object with easy, like a button, like a T button. It is more than OpenGL, the drawing tab itself. We can use T camera to control viewport, like our 3D laser tool. And also, we can put 3D object in 2D form and 2D object on the 3D form. Let me show you a sample. First, I will run an app on device. On viewport 3D, put on 3D imaging and put camera on the center. it looks like 2D form. Now when camera jet position changes, the image is zoomed. It looks like real life. I want to unite this object, my eye, to large, small. Using multi-touch, we can do zooming and fanning. Fanning works from camera XY position. This sample works the same as the photo gallery in your mobile phone. You can get a simple zooming sample in Delphi, but my one is from different approach. I apply it for my skill result app. This is a ski slope map in Korea. Machine interaction and pedaling in one go. Yes, you can use data snap just like machine-to-machine interaction as well as middleware. Comparing to Delphi's app tethering, it's a scientific calculator view as introduced. Version 1 was built with XE5. And I updated it using XE7 and put a data sharing feature. Scientific calculator view can transfer result data, calculate result data immediately to Windows PC or Mac OS as clipboard. For using Excel or CAD software, etc. Use Ctrl-V, paste. Or on a PC or Mac, run the scientific view receiver application. It's data snap server. The transmit data is all stored in the SKC view receiver, and you can export to CSV file. Let me show a demo. This IP address of device is set to desktop IP address. If this calculation of visual data is very complicated, data, it's hard to type this desktop. So long tab and transfer to PC and then its data is saved to clipboard. Export to as CSV file. Comparing to Delphi's app tethering, Delphi run on desktop, Windows or Mac. Mobile client can access DataSnet server on desktop, but not limited in the same subnet class. That's